All right.
So we can proceed. My points goes to straight away. My questions goes to why students ban schools. I may stand at this point that some are under influence of drugs. Some are under influence of drugs, and for example, the bang. They're exposed to bang, and remember now, bang influences the thinking of the mental processes, the thinking of the students is interfered, and now when you are under drug, you somehow you can't reason well. If you can't reason well, then it means that you can do something that it's beyond your control. So some students are exposed to drugs and they abuse the drugs. The bang, I can pick from that point. So also now, when it comes to communication, you remember school is a system, and because it's a system, encompasses many units, staffs, teachers, and the students. Also, the curriculum, interaction with the curriculum also makes up the entire system. Now, the system to work well, all the units should work hand in hand, so that there is a communication, there is a proper communication between the students, the head teacher, the deputy. Now, when it comes to the communication and the communication, there is a breakdown in communication, poor communication between the head teacher, the teachers. Now, it brings some problems. And now the kids or the students become frustrated, and they become now we have to do this so that we can communicate. You see, you can communicate using many languages. You can communicate verbally, you can communicate using signs and everything. So communication is of essence in relation to the topic that we are handling. If there is poor communication, then students will be likely to communicate in another way. So their communication is banning of schools. Now, to signal something that is wrong in the school. So poor communication can bring that problem of banning of schools and the strikes in schools. Maybe you can have some points on that too.
Well, yeah, when it comes to the issue of drugs, yeah, it's a concern to the society, because it acts as an influence, just like somebody will go take alcohol and then now have the guts to do the evils, and then later on they will say that, I was under the influence of alcohol. So the same way applies to drugs. There's a lot of drug abuse in schools. And it's good as a society, as a school community, as parents, we are able to get to know the root cause of how do they have access to these drugs. And when you talk about drugs, that brings me to the second point of peer pressure, because
Yes.
Majority of the parents actually do not know who their children interact with, do not know the friends of their children. Parents are busy looking for money up and down, day and night, and little attention is given to the children. And therefore, these children end up being in the wrong hands in the society. They engage with bad friends who influence them negatively, because when you look even at the culprits, it is more of influence. When you look at the banning of schools, When students hear that one school burnt, they have gone home, they are like, okay, if a certain school is at home, why not us? So they will also want to feel like, let me call it stars in quotes. You know,
Yes, correct.
they feel that that they are not cowards. So it goes round and round, and when they meet out there, they are like, oh, you also burnt your school, you also did it, ni shule gani imebaki, you know, and it brings a lot of a lot of distraction, because when you look at when they ban the schools, who suffers the most? Not the teachers, it's the parents, because it's the parents again
Yes.
will have to put their efforts together and build this school. So there's, I'll call it, there's that peer pressure amongst the
Yes.
students. And then I will also say that in one way or the other, my feeling is that not to all parents, but my feeling is again on parenthood. I feel, you know, the system, the Ministry of Education has put a lot of emphasis and blocks on the teacher when it comes to the discipline part of it.
Yes.
Therefore, you find that the teachers' hands are kind of tied and they cannot go to the extremes. I'm not saying extremes to hurt a student, but you know, the days we were schooling and you're like, you'll not do a certain thing because of the fear, you know, and a lot of things put in place. But look at nowadays, people do it so freely. Connect it with self-control. To what extent, in as much as there are so many issues that are happening in schools, yes, because when you look at the cases, the kind of excuses they are giving, it's either food, you know, they want, if it's girls, they would want maybe to plait their hair. Maybe they do not want a certain system, you know, and you know, sometimes a school system cannot favor an individual, because I'm putting myself in the shoes of the principal. You have 1,000+ students to attend to, and therefore, for one student cannot change the logistics. It becomes quite impossible. But how much do the students, or how much have we trained our students to exercise what we call self-control when such issues arise? To what extent? Because during our times, in as much as yes, sometimes the food would be bad, maybe to not be cooked properly, but is burning a whole dormitory or a whole school, is it enough, is it justifiable enough for when you're talking about food? You know, it doesn't make sense. So we have such issues in the society, and as parents, we need to be on the lookout. As the society, we need to be on the lookout. As the government too, we need to be on the lookout. What is this that the government is doing that maybe is also contributing to all this? Because the other thing that students, apart from the drugs, the peer pressure, and maybe lack of the self-control, we also look on the government part, because other students will be like, we want to go home for a holiday, because their excuses have been, you know, November and December, we are used to being at home, not to being in school. And when you look at the system of learning, it has been quite, I would say, quite hectic. Yes, Corona was there, which affected all of us. But again, when you look at since we started, we kicked off after the Corona, it has been marathon for the students. Do they feel overwhelmed? Because that, let me call it like a whole year for an idle mind. They say an idle mind is the devil's workshop. You know, by the time these students come to school and then they get used to the norms of the school, you know, as the teacher, you're here rushing to cover the syllabus within the shortest time possible. 10 weeks is not enough in a term. Look at the midterms that they've been having. Very minimal, like around 2 to 3 days, they are back in school. Look at the holidays. Within a week, they are back to school. So they do not have time, do I say, to lay off or to relax, you know. You cannot work all day long. Sometimes you need some rest time.
Yeah,
So
it's
are they
correct.
doing
It's
so
correct.
because, yeah, so are they doing so because maybe they need this rest time, or exactly, you know, there are lots of dynamics in place because it has been a marathon the whole year. And sometimes we feel for the students, but again, has the government failed? And has the government empowered the teacher enough so that they're able to deal with these issues? Back to
Yeah.
you.
Oh, thank you so much. Karibu sana. We have also a guest, Naini. Karibu sana. Karibu sana in this forum. You can say hey, please.
Hey everyone.
Hey, how are you
Hi.
doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I've just joined late. I've just seen the link. Thank you, Mwangan.
Okay, welcome. I'm Mwaganjoni and she's Esther.
Okay.
Yes, hi.
Yeah, Naini, we are looking at this thing, banning of schools. How is the education? How education is affected? That is the thing that tunaangalia saa hii. And Esther, you have, I think you have captured almost everything that I prepared, because I prepared something. I prepared something here, because when you in a discussion, you cannot go blindly. You have to see where the points will come from. So you almost covered everything. So the other issue, I'll touch on the poor examination preparation, exams. You find that most of the bans or the strikes are happening some days to examinations, and I think this one is a kind of a signal students are sending that we are not well prepared. Now, you find that students are packed with many exams. For example, the school that I'm teaching, class 8s are doing exams 2 weeks, at interval 2 weeks. Now, you can imagine the pressure that students are under. So, examination, they have to look at the exams. So they are sending signal that they are not ready. They are not prepared for the exams. That's you can see that in many schools, banning comes like some days to examination. Also, you touch on the parenting. Parenting is very important, and parenting. I think in our days, it was very strict in terms of taking instructions. But nowadays, I'm not blaming the parents, but because of a lot of work, because of a lot of engagements, they don't have time with their kids. They don't have time to give that the education that kids require. You see, there is a kind of education that you cannot get in the school setting. It's from the parents themselves. So napata mzazi anatoka saa 10 asubuhi and anarudi saa 4 usiku. When will you get time for your kids and tell them that you have to behave this, you have to behave in that manner? So I think parenting, the parents themselves, they should not blame the students, because they might be the cause of the banning of the schools and the strikes. Also, I checked on the transfer of teachers. It's quite unfortunate that you're in a school and your head teacher has been transferred abruptly, and you loved that head teacher. He or she was your mentor. Now inakuwa ni shida, inakuwa somehow it's a problem. So transfer of teachers, the students should be well informed of the transfers. And also, I'm urge of that the education system should look for a way to inform the students that they're transferring a teacher. Despite that it's not their responsibility, but it carries, it has more weight in relation to the students themselves. So Naini, karibu sana, you say something about that, please.
About the school, the striking, ongoing strike, and the banning of the school in secondary school. This one I can say. First is we can talk about the peer pressure among the youths. Some of them, they are being influenced by their peers. The peers who think probably they're not ready for the exam, and for them to avoid doing the exams, they have to make sure the others also wamefall kwa hiyo category. So peer pressure for these young adults.
Sure.
Yes. Also lack of parental. Yeah, Mwangajoni has said about the parental guidance. This thing of the parenting nowadays, we have left it for the school to overtake it. We are no longer relating well with our kids. We don't have time with their kids. Nowadays, tunaachia watoto, the house girls, to take the kids. They are the one to take them to school. They are the one to punish them in case there are any issues. So parents have failed in their part. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, and also, sure. Yeah, we are seeing there is a lot of freedom in schools. For me, in my case, when I was in school, is not like nowadays. Kulikuwa na hiyo, yeah, there was respect for the teachers, and also each and every student understood their task in school. But nowadays, we have the blind freedoms which are coming from the government is also doing that, because since tuliacha the issue of the caning students, we have also tumekuwa na what we call now the blind freedom. It's a freedom, but not it has overgone to what we have thought it ingekuwa. So that freedom I have on my side. Yeah.
Yeah, the corporal punishment is it was very important. It was very important. Yes, yes, sure, because it ensured to ensure that students who had the constant cases of indiscipline were dealt with. But look at the kids nowadays. Unamwambia nitakuchapa, and you're not doing anything. And that one, also the kid or the student, anaona kwamba now ananiambia nifanye hivi, but nothing is happening. So the issue of abandoning the corporal punishments, it has a weight in relation to the banning and the striking. Also the curriculum. Let's check on the curriculum. You have talked about the curriculum, and now I'm not against I'm not against the education system. I'm not against the stakeholders of the CBC, but I've interacted with the curriculum. CBC, it requires a lot of preparation. It requires a lot of resources. In terms of teachers, in terms of material, in terms of financial, in terms of infrastructure. So I'm saying I'm not against that, but let's check it out. This one also burdens the teachers and the learners themselves. Unapata watoto wanaenda shule early in the morning, amesahau walikuwa ametumwa mkebe wa blue band ende utumike na kitu fulani. Unawapata watoto wanatembea kwenye majaa early in the morning. And I think we have to check on that, because they are sending many signals in relation to that, because they are tired and the work is very heavy. Also the teachers themselves, you may see that teachers are also being part of the banning. I'm not saying that teachers are hawako pia. Unaweza pata wengine wako wanasema chomeni so that we do something. Okay, Esther, you can proceed, please. Yes, I'm seeing Esther, your hand is up, please.
Yes, you know, Naini has also attached something to do with the mocks, and that reminds me, yeah, it is always the banning and the strikes are always during the mock time, huh? And that shows us the level of preparedness of our students or of our learners. That means they are always inadequately prepared on their side. They feel the pressure. And that, you know, there is this notion that what you get in mock doesn't fall far away from what you're to get in the KCSE. So I think the pressure, yes, of, you know, yeah, so it really contributes a lot. And then when you talk of inadequate time in terms of, no, not really, let me not go to the inadequate times in terms of parenting. Let me handle the issue with freedom. I think the freedom that Naini has just talked about reminds me of the children's rights, because I feel that, yes, the children's rights are there. It's good when they know their rights, but I feel that we are not telling them, what they are supposed to do as children or as students, because they have embraced their rights, but to an extent now they've taken advantage of these children's rights. You know, you cannot beat a child, you cannot do this and this, but what is their responsibility? You know, that's another thing, because where there is a right, there is a responsibility for you, for that right to take place. So I think that is an area that need to be looked on. And then when it comes to lack of time, this reminds me of, I went to a certain primary school, and it has both boarding and the day scholars. And I was shocked to get a grade 1 pupil who is a boarder. Grade 1.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now that tells me that, now you imagine, you know, the modern parents, this child has been, because we are busy at work, has been brought up by a house help who was raised with different morals. So the others don't even instill morals on their children. So this child is brought up by a house help. At some point, to feel that having a house help is a nuisance, so you let them go off, you lay them off, and then now look at this case whereby we are having a grade 1 people in students as a boarder. You know, as a parent, when do you get to learn more about a child? And that is why sometimes, even when parents are called for these cases, they don't believe their children did so. They're always in denial because they do not know their students. Because I'm assuming like this year, these students will only come home as your children. Now, you know, at school, I do say they are students, but wakikuja nyumbani ni watoto wako. You know, they come for 3 days, 1 week. 3 days and 1 week, and they really know how to play with the parent psychology. You know, so they come for 1 week, they go. So for the better part of the time they're in school. At school, they're interacting with children, assuming now this grade 1 pupil or a child who was taken to a boarding school at grade 4. These people are interacting with the students from all over the world, if not all over the country, who are brought up with different morals. And some of these things are learned in school. Sorry to say so. Because a parent feels that they are busy, and the only way to lay off is to take their children to boarding schools. I'm not against boarding schools, but again, when do you get that me time with your children? They need that bond. You need to understand them. They need somebody to caution them. They need somebody to teach them the morals. But we don't have that time. They are busy in high schools, they're interacting, they're busy in the boarding schools, they're interacting with other students, they're interacting with different morals and characters and behaviors, call it, you know, which is, I feel, is really doing a mess to us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And what can we do in relation to what we have pointed out? What can we do now? What can we do?
Yeah,
it's another question because yes, we have problems. Now, how can we deal with the problem? The banning and the striking, how can we approach that? Also, we can say that we can approach that spiritually. Yeah, we believe in God. So how can we curb that? How can we minimize that? So that is another question that we have to look at. We have pointed the causes, yes, but now how can we deal with that? It's another question.
Wow, that's a good question because there has to be a way forward for it. And I do say, first, charity begins at home. That's the first step. So as parents, we have to take the responsibility. We have to honor that, yes, these are our children, because after they have messed up, they are our children. They'll be identified with us. And so the first thing is that, can we be present for our kids? Can we show them the direction? Can we show them the way? Where they go wrong, can we correct them in the right way? Sometimes, yes, the road is very nice. Even the Bible says so. You spare the rod, spoil the child. So sometimes, can we get into business and the children know that when as early as possible, as early as they grow up? In Kiswahili, they say samaki mkunje angali mbichi. Because if we let them grow, now you see they're becoming a mess in the society. And these are tomorrow's parents. They are tomorrow's teachers. They are tomorrow's presidents and leaders. Now you can imagine what kind of a society we are bringing it up. So first things first, let us be there as parents, present for our kids. Let us not look for money and forget the primary or the bottom, the foundation of the family. So if you're there as a parent, if you're able to work with your son or daughter, I believe with time, it is never too late for a child, especially for those who are in high schools. But let us not just overlook the whole issue. The second one I would say is that for teachers to instill discipline, it calls for cooperation from the community. And the community entails the administration part of it. We have the teachers, we have the parents, and we have the society in general. So how do we instill discipline? I look at when the students are striked and maybe the principals have called the matatus drivers, wakuje wachukue watoto, and the children are going home. They are celebrating because they are getting money, Anafikiria usiku kama ni fare amepandisha ni double. All they are thinking is money. But can we see this, because they are part and parcel of the community? Can we see people who are concerned that it's not all about money, as in watoto mumestrike, munaenda wapi? I'm looking forward to that community. Wanafunzi watastrike, wafike stage, watandikwa na community na warudishwe shuleni, instead of celebrating, because that way we are showing them the right way. So for the system to work, the community has to come together, because how are these drugs being sneaked in, or how are they accessing drugs? It is not through the parent, it's through the same community. So these dynamics have to work together. The system has to work together for us to have an effective generation to come. So that's my feeling. And then the government has also to look at it in a different dimension. Yes, the teacher is overburdened sometimes. For the high schools, there's a lot of TPAD going on. I'm not complaining, but I feel there's more spotlight on the teacher compared to the student. And this is a generation that we are growing. So the government still has a stake it plays a big chunk, because they are the law enforcers. It's the same government that will tell you that ukichapa mwanafunzi, you lose your job or you end up in jail. You know? The same government ukichapa mtoto and the student, or maybe there's a case whereby is it a student who beat alitandika mwalimu, and then I don't know, the student was expelled from school, and then the parents somehow walienda kwa, they know wakubwa, and a letter came from above that admit this son or daughter back to school, So the blame is on the teacher, as in unachapajwa na mwanafunzi, and you imagine the kind of students that we're teaching. So the government too has to sit down and look at where did the rain start beating them as a government now, as a system, because they are the whole umbrella of the whole thing. Thank you.
Okay, Naini, what can we do? What can we do in relation to the problems that we have highlighted? What can we do? What are some of the solutions? I think she has poor network coverage. Now, you have talked about many things here. And also, let's not forget the counseling that you have said. Sure. Counseling is very important. Counseling is very important. And in schools, we have to have that department headed with the chairperson and the teachers that are well equipped with the concepts and the knowledge about the counseling. It's very important that the teachers and the parents and the students come together and talk about these issues that they are affecting their students or the kids. It's very important to have the professionals also from outside that regularly come to talk to the students about their well-being, because kids are undergoing many things, emotionally, psychologically, physically, and they can open up and say, this is the problem with the school, this is the problem with the teachers, this is the problem with the staffs. So it's very important to have that department, guiding and counseling department, whereby they'll come and talk about the drug abuse, their effects, the long-term and the short-term effects, how the drugs affect their mental processes. It's very important. It's very important. Sure. In terms of exams, I think there should be a proper planning and preparation. So the education sector, the curriculum developers should ensure they should ensure that the materials that are required at certain level zimechujwa vizuri, zisi overburden the kids and also the teachers. So regularly, I advise maybe the government to regularly check the syllabus, check the syllabus, the weight of the syllabus, so that learners wakati wanapewa the materials the wanaiona kidogo ni nyepesi, isiwe nzito sana kwao, inaweza kuwaletea hiyo kuchoma shule. The other things are in the administration, the administrators themselves should be very conversant with the administration principles, because they are scholars, so they should employ the skills that they learned in terms of administration of schools, because poor administration or the management can lead to these these harmful issues. Also, proper channeling of information. Information should be channeled in a proper way. That hierarchy should be followed. You'll find that the head teacher is the one coming down to the students, and it's very wrong that way. We have the deputy head teacher, the senior teachers, the teachers in various departments. Also, there should be well representation of the hierarchy. Si head teacher anakuja kuumiza watoto huku chini is not his responsibility. Yeye yake ni nyingine tofauti. So the communication should be there. Good communication should be there. You have touched on the parenting. Parenting is very important, and regularly I advise the parents should spare a little time to talk to the girls and the boys, the students. Even if it's 15 minutes daily, it can change the life of the kids. Mtoto anaweza kuwa amepitia mambo mengi, and you're like, wewe ukija wewe ni kujipumzisha, and then kesho unaenda. Unaweza tafuta wealth, but at long last the wealth inakuwa haina maana because you have lost all your kids in kwa mambo mengi. So you have to make sure that you make time for your kids. It's very important, and listen to them. The issues that they're coming up, the issues that they're telling you, you have to take them seriously so that you can help them to sail through their education. I have that. Wow, maybe somebody has an addition, please.
Well, that's a good insight. And mine is it's not actually an addition, but maybe an emphasis, especially on the guidance and counseling from both the parents and the teachers, these guidance and counseling units, both at home and at school. It's good that we have a listening ear. We give them a listening ear because sometimes we don't give them the listening ear. You know, sometimes even if it's so foolish, just give them that listening ear and just lower yourself to their standard, because sometimes, you know, we guide and counseling based on our maybe how we were brought up, you know, but sometimes we fail to understand. Yes, we fail to understand that things are changing. Generations, hata Nokia ilitupa nje because walikataa kufanya nini? They had to sell the company, you know, because they refused to adhere to the technology, to the modern technology, you know. So let us give a listening ear to our children, to our students in school, and let us just go down to their level. And as we are guiding and counseling them, let us not be judgmental, you know. Let us just go down to their level, listen to them, then guide and counsel them accordingly. I think that way it will also reduce some of these cases. And then let us also teach our students and our children to exercise self-control, because it does not go only up with the banning of schools. This is something that goes a long way in their lives, you know. So let us teach them self-control. And above all, yes, after we have done 1, 2, 3, the rest we surrender to God. I know it is still workable. I know we have not lost it all.
Okay, thank you so much. Naini, any contribution, please?
For me, going through a lot, going through challenge. Even in this, don't have they don't want to share the problem. So for me, to go an open channel where they'll be free to advocate. Yeah. it's not only banning of schools. No, I don't know if you have someone in Mombasa studied together to simply because she failed. So we don't. I think they need to be given an open channel where they'll be able to advocate for their challenges in an open way. Because when these students even in their home, some of these students they cannot be open to their parents because of how they've been brought up. They're not with their parents. So in school, to develop open channel, then I think of a great help. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So as Esther, you have said, it's also very important that after identifying the issues, having the physical solutions, I think there is someone of the supreme being that he's the one who controls the universe. Now we have to pray about the issues. We have to pray about the issues, and we have to commit our kids and the students the hands of God, so that God can take control. Yes, we can have as many skills, we can have principles, we can have measures, but without God now, we'll fail automatically. So after canceling them, after doing what, now it comes in the issue of presenting our problems to our Father. Yes, maybe in addition, I'm seeing that we have consumed our time, but it was a nice interaction. I have loved this. I've loved this. Yes.
Personally, I don't have any addition. Just it was a good. We've had a good time, and I love the contributions. Yes, at least I've gotten to know somebody known as Naini. Yeah, it was a good discussion.
Yes,
And
we salute you. We really yes, we really salute you. You are our senior now. You're still in the campus doing some studies. So thank you so much for your interaction. And I think you can pursue master's degree in psychology and administration and all that. I think you're good in that. So don't sit down and say that nimetosheka. No, you can still pursue something that is of higher rank. Thank you so much, Naini. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Also,
pleasure.
Karibuni sana. Let's have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night. Bye bye.
Good night. Bye bye bye.